So it either doesn't connect, disconnects, or connects to something that you don't want. Thank you, Bluetooth, for making our lives easier. Bluetooth is terrible, but it seems like we're stuck with it. Today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why Bluetooth should die, 1 reason why Bluetooth is actually better than anything else, and an alternative just in case you want the utmost in musical fidelity. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about why Bluetooth sucks. Bluetooth was never meant for music transmission. It was meant for data transmission. Now, Bluetooth has gotten better about transferring more and more data. There are different versions of Bluetooth and different codecs, which actually work within the different revisions of Bluetooth. You got SBC, which is kind of a catch-all, AAC for Apple devices, aptX, aptX HD, LDAC, and even more. There's supposedly lossless codecs of Bluetooth coming on. And what lossless means is that you're going to be getting all the data from your music. I don't think that's ever going to be possible, because LDAC was lauded as the high-res Bluetooth alternative, and it turns out it's really not. You lose a bunch of your music. So while each revision of Bluetooth in theory gets better with transferring more data and therefore more music, it is still not lossless. Bluetooth is like throwing a ping pong ball down 35W at about 7:45 in the morning, right when I-30, 820, all of them meet right outside of Fort Worth. Bluetooth is working off of the 2.4 gigahertz range, which also, incidentally, is where your Wi-Fi works, and also, incidentally, where your microwave works. There's a whole bunch of different products, equipment, using that same frequency where Bluetooth is trying to live. So people get dropouts. I'm sure if you've used Bluetooth devices at all, you've experienced dropouts. And you've also experienced headaches when you try to hook back up for the thing that dropped out. It happens to me all the time. It happens to me so often, it doesn't even surprise me or frustrate me anymore. Generally speaking, in the car. I have wireless CarPlay, which actually works off of Bluetooth. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know what the solution is? Turning off the car. Then miraculously, it just works again. I think it is amazing that we are this far down the road with Bluetooth, and still, it doesn't always work. I think as a group, societally, we've just accepted that Bluetooth is terrible, and we don't even get mad at it anymore. And the problem is, I'm probably a little bit more tech savvy than a lot of folks. Like if my mom was trying to use Bluetooth, so what I do is I just disconnect it, go into my settings, forget that device, disconnect it, put it back into pairing mode, and generally speaking, I can get something to reconnect. If you're not used to that though, it's gonna be super frustrating. You know what else is super frustrating? When my daughter turns on her AirPods and it automatically connects back to the iPad, even when I go into the iPad and forget that device. And then I have to dig into the settings and figure out, oh, this is how you do it. So it either doesn't connect, disconnects, or connects to something that you don't want. Thank you, Bluetooth, for making our lives easier. Latency. Latency is this. So when you're watching video and the audio track does not match up with the video track. Now, this has been a thing for a long time. TVs have delays. Home theater receivers have ways to sync up, lip sync the audio with the video. But most of the times, in my experience, Bluetooth headphones don't have that option. And when I'm watching a video, especially on things that aren't branded Apple, or maybe Sony, or Bose, there is latency. I don't like latency. It completely takes me out of watching a video or a movie, especially. This is ever apparent in my car, again, and I'm not normally watching videos in my car over Apple Wireless AirPlay, but when I'm waiting to pick up the kids, sometimes I do. Or if I'm just sitting in a parking lot for a long time because I don't want to go home because there's a bunch of screaming going on at home, I'll watch a video in the parking lot. It's a little bit of me time. Latency, terrible latency. It's terrible. Have you ever tried to watch a music video with latency? It's not an enjoyable experience. And Bluetooth came out in the 90s. Okay? The 90s. The invention of Bluetooth was closer to the moon landing than it is to today. Guess what they had on the moon landing? They had latency in their audio. And the moon is 239,000 miles away. I'm like 10 feet away. I'm still getting latency. I can accept it on the moon, but I can't in my kitchen. We've talked about why Bluetooth is terrible. Let's talk about why Bluetooth is kind of awesome in one regard. And really it comes down to just a couple of people. We got Apple, Sony, and Bose, basically. And that's spatial audio. Spatial audio, Dolby Atmos audio, is actually really good. While we're trading fidelity in the music, we are gaining spatial audio, or placement of things in space on a digital level. So if we're listening to a track in spatial audio, it can be a very immersive experience, one of which we will not get even if we have bit perfect musical representation. And it's done at a price that is a fraction of the cost of a really good hi-fi 2-channel system or a home theater system. So finally, Bluetooth gets a win. However, it depends on the type of device that you're using to send the signal. It depends on the type of music service that you're using, and it depends on the product that you have in your ears or over your ears. Another thing that Bluetooth headphones can be really good at is DSP. DSP is things like EQ, equalization. So you can go in there and you can change the sonic signature of the headphones, because let's face it, a lot of these headphones aren't great out of the box. So you need to tweak them a little bit to get them to sound their best. But we always have to keep in mind, even though we're tweaking these Bluetooth headphones, that still does not mean you're getting fidelity, clarity within the music, because you're stuck on Bluetooth, and Bluetooth is lossy. If you're getting any value out of this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I think it's actually over here. Maybe it's over here. You can do it. Just click on it. Click. Hit subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later. And if you stop watching me, I'm not going to show up in your feed anyway. So please, thank you for watching and subscribe to the channel. This is where music streamers enter the picture, because with music streamers, you're going to at least be getting Apple AirPlay 2, Apple AirPlay 1, which is actually, in some regards, better than Apple AirPlay 2. Chromecast. Then you have bit-perfect streaming platforms. Things like Blue Sound. Things like Weem, things like Rune. So with a streamer, and you can even use your computer as a streamer, in some cases you can actually use your phone as a streamer, but you have to hardwire into your actual system, which can be kind of a pain. So then you're tethered. One of the great things about Bluetooth is freedom! With something like this, the Weem streamer, it's $80 and you're getting AirPlay. You're getting a lossless streaming platform for Tidal, for Qobuz, for Deezer. You get a whole bunch of different options, and if that doesn't work, then you can use AirPlay. You spend a little bit more money, you get Chromecast. You get a whole bunch of different things. Now, Chromecast, AirPlay, still lossy, but they're way better than Bluetooth, and Bluetooth just doesn't sound good because the majority of the music is gone. They, the Bluetooth apologists, will say that that music is missing in the inaudible range of human hearing. Well, I'm here to tell you that if I listen to something on Bluetooth AAC especially, which is the Apple codec, and then I listen to something that's just streaming, there's a significant difference. It sounds terrible, just terrible. But for $80, if you're into musical fidelity at all, if you don't want latency, then you need to get a streamer. Even 2 years ago, they, as in iFi, was selling a Bluetooth receiver, an LDAC receiver. That was like $150, maybe even $200. And the thing about Bluetooth is you have to have the phone and the receiver both working off of the same codec, which means if you have an LDAC receiver, then you need to have a phone or a device that's sending the signal in LDAC, in the LDAC codec. Guess what? Apple does not do that. So you're stuck with Android. So if you want the best Bluetooth codec, you got to buy an Android phone. Most people that I know have an iPhone. Let's just end this train wreck. Bluetooth is here to stay regardless of how terrible it is. But guess what? Bluetooth doesn't care. People that use Bluetooth don't care about audio files. Nobody cares about us. By the way, you should really buy a coffee mug. Underneath the video, you can buy a coffee mug. Help support the channel. The only thing that Bluetooth is good for is passive listening to, I don't know, YouTube videos, maybe some movies, especially if you have the AirPod Pros, which I actually really like. If you have something like the Soundcore, Liberty 4, any of the latest Soundcore products, pretty good. If you have Bose, if you have Sony, they're good. But one of the reasons why they're really good is because of noise canceling, and that has nothing to do with Bluetooth and everything to do with actually isolating yourself from the rest of the world, which can be a lot of fun in many cases. Spatial audio is also something that you're not going to get out of a regular stereo. And it is very impressive if you can get over the loss of fidelity. It's a trade-off. I'm still waiting for the day where we have Bluetooth that doesn't have connection issues, where we have Bluetooth that doesn't have latency issues, when we have non-lossy audio transfer with Bluetooth. We're not there yet. Even though, as a society, people have created, I don't know, the internet, AI, smartphones. The music industry has been completely digitized. Cable television is no longer a thing. All that has happened since the 90s, and yet we can't figure out how to send music losslessly from our phones to our earbuds. Come on. I've got an app on my phone that if I tell it to make a picture of a cat riding a horse with a cowboy hat on while eating a hot dog, it'll do it in like 3 seconds. And yet we can't figure out Bluetooth? Well, it's one of life's great mysteries.